Republican majority state legislatures across the country are moving rapidly to pass new voting laws amid former President Donald Trump's continued false claims of election fraud. Lisa Desjardins takes us to one battleground state and explains the raging debate.
Vote no on HB 531.
In Georgia this week, the sounds of American democracy still struggling, and over an essential trait, voting itself.
This is what democracy looks like.
Outside the State House, protesters chant about access, fearful their ability to vote is under threat.
All those in favor?
Inside, the Republican-led legislature says the issue is security, pushing sweeping bills to rewrite state voting laws, blaming 2020.
If you didn't see confusion this year, I don't know what you saw.
Georgia's lower chamber, the House, has already passed HB 531, which cuts down early voting on weekends, adds ID requirements, and shortens the time to get an absentee ballot. The state Senate is also considering ending no-excuse absentee voting and automatic voter registration at the DMV. Debate has been sharply polarized.
House Bill 531 will greatly improve our elections processes for all voters.
HB 531 is textbook voter suppression.
Voter suppression is racist. Voter suppression is white supremacy.
This after record turnout flipped Georgia blue for President Joe Biden and in two close U.S. Senate races. It was a surge of civic engagement, like from James Hammond, who signed up as a first-time poll manager.
I went from, in less than a year, being the guy that just comes in, presses the button, to being the person to make sure that the election is actually carried out fairly and equitably for all of the residents in the area.
He says he saw passionate voters and a dispassionate, secure system.
There was very little room for you to have voter fraud.
Courts agreed, rejecting then-President Donald Trump's campaign assertions of fraud. From Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, same conclusion.
We've never found systemic fraud, not enough to overturn the election.
And yet, at a conservative conference in Orlando on Sunday, Mr. Trump again falsely raised the idea of fraud.
We should eliminate the insanity of mass and very corrupt mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to do something about it.
Republicans across the country are heeding that call. Some 250 election law bills in 43 states, concentrated most in swing states Trump lost. The Brennan Center for Justice is tracking it. Its president, Michael Waldman.
There's a surge of restrictive voting laws being pushed by legislators, 3 times as many as just 2 years ago.
They have the power to change the rules, and they are using that power to pick their own voters.
Andrea Young heads the ACLU in Georgia. She believes Republicans in the state house are attempting a power grab by directly limiting voting.
The result in November was an accurate reflection of the votes cast in the state of Georgia. And now that system is something that is under attack. There are 50 bills that would unravel the system that allowed 5 million Georgians to cast ballots.
But Republicans cry that's unfair. They say they want to restore credibility to elections now distrusted by Trump voters. State Senator Butch Miller.
When we have not just dozens, but hundreds of people who call me and say, why is it that when I go to vote in person, I have to show a photo ID, but I can send in a request and just send in my ballot and nobody knows who it is?
Do you see evidence that the system is allowing for fraud right now?
There is clearly inefficiencies, evidence of fraud that would overtake or change the outcome of the election. No. Are there inefficiencies? Yes.
But critics scoff, saying the laws would affect some voters far more, those who are older and those who are Black or brown.
African Americans are less likely to have a government-issued photo ID. We think that that's discriminatory.
Especially in a place like Georgia with a deep history of racial restrictions on voting. Now you don't see, dogs and billy clubs, but you see laws that are pretty plainly targeted at Black voters.
We asked State Senator Miller.
If you reflected on that history and why these voting reforms might...
There are wrongs in history that we can't right. that we can't make well, that we can't, erase. But we want to make sure that every voter has access to the ballot box. How we do that is to making sure that we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's.
Of course, Southern Jim Crow laws literally asked blacks to dot I's and cross T's, to take literacy tests, to vote. We pointed out to Senator Miller that supporters of those racist laws also said they were aimed at election integrity. He disavowed Jim Crow laws and said this effort is different.
I don't think there's any obstruction to access. All we have to do is verify that the person is who they claim they are. And that's all.
Is that all? One voter's verification is another voter's barrier. In Atlanta, poll manager James Hammond doesn't like the general direction he sees.
Every American should have the right to vote, and we should not block them from having access at any point.
Many believe that access now hangs in the balance.